Up a nickel to close at 81.05. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD, banging Monday through Friday from 2 to 5.
And our guest, of course, is Representative Ann Meyer. Hi, Ann.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm outstanding. You look still summery today. And I was talking a little earlier about I've got shorts on again today. I thought maybe we were done with shorts and sandals and that sort of thing. But
it is warm.
It's a great day.
And I have a sweater on today. And my husband would laugh because I don't open the windows when it's windy because we get too much dust in the house.
I left mine open like a fool, but anyway.
And it's still chilly in there from last night.
Yeah.
And so here I am in a sweater in the studio, which is about 78 degrees, I think.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I as soon as I got here, I left my windows open. Dang.
I know. I hate that little coating of dirt everywhere once you do that.
It's going to be there when I get home. It's waiting for me. Anyway, we had the Ken Rash chili feed last night, mainly for the Republican Party. Well, actually,
it's all for the
Republican Party.
Webster
Yeah.
County
No
Republicans.
Democrats on the stage last night, ladies and gentlemen. But and the Rash family were recognized as they should be as longtime fine business people, fine citizens of our city, and they have been very involved in. I don't know if the chili thing was always about the Republican Party, or if it just evolved into it. But
this has been the fundraiser for the Webster County Republicans for a long, long time, and maybe if anyone is listening, Jim Oberhelman, you can tell me how long we've had this, but it's as long as I can remember.
Sure. Ken Rash was quite a guy. He used to come in here. He came in here to the studio a couple of times just to talk about the chili feed and all that sort of thing. He'd come in with a big cowboy hat and chaps and the whole thing. He'd walk around town with a 45 sometimes strapped to his leg. He was, I think he was originally from Colorado. I might be wrong here. If any members of the Rash family are listening, you can correct me. That's for sure. But I think he was a Colorado cowboy in his youth. But anyway, it was a great event. The food was excellent. They always make great cinnamon rolls. I don't know where they get them.
So that's a donation from Senator Kreinbrink and me.
Oh.
We actually get them right here in town at Tom Thumb. We ordered them.
Oh,
and
yeah?
So,
Tom Thumb?
Yeah.
Okay.
They make the best cinnamon. I don't want to offend anybody, but they make some really good cinnamon rolls.
We have and J Mars does too. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but or known that, but J Mars has great ones too. And Tom Thumbs, we're lucky we have a couple of great places that still serve breakfast. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Anyway, what did you think of the event?
The event, I just think it could not have been any better. First of all, I love having Governor Reynolds come to town anytime.
Nice person.
I mean,
person.
She is just salt of the earth. She is out there to help people. She's so kind. She remembers meeting just like Senator Grassley. I mean, they know you. They know so many people in Fort Dodge, and this has really become one of her main stopping points in the state as she's going around campaigning.
I'm glad to say that Governor Reynolds does recognize me now.
Oh, yeah.
She does recognize me. And Chuck Grassley, they make an issue out of his age. He's 88 years old. I mean, you can bring up, that's legitimate.
Yeah.
But Grassley remembers me.
Yeah. He's sharp
I've
as
said
a tack.
I've said it several times. I'm just some guy in a little town in Iowa who works at a radio station. Grassley talks to the big people, CBS, NBC, Fox News.
Yeah.
But he still remembers me.
And, I was behind the counter serving chili at the back line last night, and he came through my line and he said, I never know. I never expect anyone to know who I am. But he said, now you make sure my grandson treats you well. Because he is the Speaker of the House.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's a pretty good guy himself, isn't he, Pat Grassley?
He's a very good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nice family. They're, salt of the earth. They're farmers, and all of them are hard workers.
Oh,
yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I think Grassley still runs a mile or even more than that every day.
I think he runs 2 miles a day.
Does he?
Is his daily routine.
He started that when he was 65.
I do know that.
I remember him when he was first in office. He was an overweight guy. He was a heavy set guy. But
really?
this was way back though. This was before he was a senator. I mean, he was He was
in the House,
he was in the House.
Iowa
and,
House.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Iowa House. And he was kind of a heavyset guy back then. But he got in his head that he was going to do something about it, and he sure did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's very sharp and he's very healthy, and he is such a great asset to Iowa because once the Republicans win back the Senate, he will be the chair of the Judiciary Committee again.
Boy, I hope that happens. I mean, the Democrats are talking big. We talked about that a little bit earlier. The Democrats are saying there's going to be a blue tsunami, but I'll tell you why they do that. Because the media can affect the election.
Oh, absolutely.
If we get caught up in the fact that, this, as a matter of fact, Steve Kornacki on no less of a network than MSNBC was showing all the midterms, and Kornacki's kind of an analyst and he's a good one. And he showed how the midterms have gone. And they, using that as a backdrop, it doesn't look good for the Democratic Party this time around,
right?
Especially with the economy and the dumpster, and the price of gas is up 60% or whatever the hell it is. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And I do feel like there is, because of, I watch all the stations too. I turned on the NBC News the other day in the morning when I was doing some kitchen work, and I understand why people think that Republicans are bad, because that's all they're hearing on the local
abortion. And I want to talk about this with you because, of course, you're a woman, right?
I am. Yep, absolutely.
I know, and we live in an age where the Democrats tell us that men can get pregnant and give birth, but I'm assuming you're, pretty much from birth, this is who you've been.
From birth, this is who I am.
And you are a mother.
A mother.
So just so we know.
Yes.
Again, even though I know your position, what is your position on abortion?
Again, I've said this at the door. I've said it over and over again. I supported the bill that was signed right before I was in the legislature in 2017, the heartbeat bill, with the exceptions that are put in there for rape, incest, health of the mother, and abnormalities of the fetus. I've always told people I support that, but if there was ever a time that we were going to vote to take those restrictions away, I would not be voting for that. So that's where I stand. I support the heartbeat bill. I didn't have an opportunity to vote for it because that came before my time. What we did in the past session was pass a constitutional amendment to the Iowa Constitution, which simply says the Iowa Constitution does not recognize or disavow the right to an abortion. The abortion will not, and abortion is not part of the Iowa Constitution. So when the legislature passes laws, because this is coming back to the states where it should be, when the legislature passes laws, the Iowa Supreme Court cannot go to the Iowa Constitution and overturn that legislation. Now it has to pass again next session.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confident it will. And then it's still not law. Then it goes to the voters. So every person in Iowa will have the opportunity to vote on this issue, which I think they should. This is an important issue, and it doesn't matter what your party is. People have different feelings on this. There are lots of Democrats who are anti-abortion. There are lots of Republicans that are pro-choice. Yes. Every person should have the right to vote on this.
Thank you very much. You mean a little democracy? Mike Gronstall was Senate Majority Leader, and he was so smug. And that's why he's a lobbyist now. Yeah, he was in the Senate for years and years and years. It's a civil right. This is a civil right, and that's a civil right, because he thought so. Nobody else got to vote for it. Just he thought so. When gay marriage came around, well, can't we vote on it? Oh, no, I consider it a civil right. He killed that. So the court's decision in Varnum stood, but thanks to the Supreme Court, we have a choice. The Dobbs decision did not make abortion illegal.
Nope.
The
Just
Democrats
send it back to the states.
The Democrats need to stop lying about that because that's what they're doing. It sounds better. It's a better soundbite.
Well, it's better to talk about something like that is a polarizing issue rather than look at what everyone has to deal with every day when we're talking about gas prices that are up another time.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about that, do they?
They're going back up.
Interest rates are going up. I mean, the good times are
so
over.
On Friday afternoon, after dinner, I asked Jim, I said, I want to go to the grocery store, and it's Friday night. Why don't you come with me?
Yeah.
And he said, okay. He agreed to, put some clothes back on and go to the grocery store with me.
Oh, is he sitting around the house naked? I don't think I want to know this.
In his pajamas.
In his jammies, okay.
And then so every time I picked something up, Jim has always been a price watcher and comparer, as well as I have been as well. But he hasn't been out to the grocery store in a lot of months. And he was very surprised at the price hikes out there.
Believe
I
me,
mean, $1.50 extra on a jar of peanut butter.
Oh, the price of beef is way up there.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. The price of milk is up, I don't know, 20, 30%.
Eggs. I mean, stuff we use every week.
That's right.
And so no one wants to, we're not hearing a lot of that. We're hearing a lot of issues that are trying to divide us, but everyone is feeling the inflation.
And the reason that is happening is the Biden administration and the Democratic Party's really mean-spirited energy policies. They are hell-bent on converting us to electric energy in the next 10 minutes. And it's just making us all poor. And I'll tell you, the Biden administration, I don't care what they say, and I don't care what the Democratic Party says. They'll eventually, if you give them the chance, they'll kill biofuels. They'll kill, they won't use ethanol or biofuels for green energy sources. They won't do it.
Which is very unfortunate.
We'll destroy our state's economy. We'll destroy our state's economy. So they can talk all they want about rights here and rights there. That's fine. I'm willing to engage them anytime they'd want to.
One thing is that when we talk about fuels, that is very interesting that we can't we can't be energy independent anymore, which really protected our country's national security. But now we're going to the Middle East and we're going to Venezuela to get more oil. And you know who produces the cleanest oil? Do you know who produces the cleanest energy? America.
That's right.
So we're not going to produce it here, but we're going to go to other countries that produce it dirtier because it is, I thought it was a global climate change, but apparently
it isn't. It's just happening here in the United States.
It's very frustrating
because Barack Obama, when he had Joe Biden as his errand boy, when Barack Obama was president, he would always say, I continue to believe that the world will follow us on climate change legislation. Is Vladimir Putin going to follow us anywhere? No, he's got a lot of gas. Is China? They have a lot of coal. Is India? Where are these people lining up to follow the Democratic Party on climate change? The Paris Agreement? Give me a break. Are you kidding? I'm sorry. I get on this subject.
These are issues that are important in the upcoming election.
Yeah, they are.
They are. And I hope everyone is. I know that Governor Reynolds is way up in the polls. I know that I don't have an opponent. I mean, this is great. I don't want people to sit home because our state is going to, send Governor Reynolds back to the Capitol. They're going to send me back to the State House. I want everyone to get out there and vote up and down the ticket to make sure that we have good policy and not policy that is, especially as far as energy goes, a fantasy.
Look, I do an opinion show, so every now and then I rage. I rage a little bit. But I was talking. Yes, I do. I was talking with a couple of guys last night, and they said, and I agreed with them, and I felt the same way. That we're afraid of this administration. We're afraid what will happen if the Democrats maintain control at the federal and state level, the federal level, and if they gain any ground here at the state level. Their policies are so radical. They don't seem to like us. They don't like our churches. They don't like our philosophy. They don't like us. They don't.
The policies that are coming out of Washington right now would lead us to believe they do not like us because the pain that people are feeling,
and
right
they don't
now
care.
are, we're coming up on a cold winter,
Yeah.
and electric price and gas prices are only going up to heat your home. We've got they're in Europe. Oh shoot, I wish I could remember which country it is. They are already telling people you will be without heat at some point during this winter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening because of bad policy.
Yeah.
We could produce energy.
We could. Biden will not back off on that. The Biden administration people will not allow us to produce our own energy because they are determined that they're saving the world through green energy policies. It's preposterous.
And I don't have a problem with people using green energy policies as far as windmills and electric cars and solar, but it's got to be a mix of everything, because everything, if you're, well, we all know what happened in California last month when everyone was encouraged to have an electric car, but then they were told, don't plug it in.
Yes, we do.
So we have to have a mix of everything to be.
This is Alice in Wonderland. This is some crazy fantasy. I mean, that's happening over here on the left. I mean, really. And I'll tell you what. If you look at what happened when the government declared war on smoking, the states that produced tobacco were Republican states, and the tobacco industry was crushed. Now, you can have a separate argument about cigarette smoking, but if you follow the money went to states like states like California, and to Trent Lott's home state. Trent was a Republican, I know, but if you follow that money, it left Republican states and took money away from Republican candidates through donations. If you look at what's happening now, the states who will lose are Texas and Louisiana and the Gulf states, southern states with Republican leadership. And the green energy investors are in where? Nancy Pelosi's districts mainly, and in California, Northern California. They're waiting to get a big payoff from the Biden administration and from the Democratic leadership from green energy being forced down our throat. And they don't care how much we suffer out here in Iowa. They don't. They just don't. They want to get rid of the Electoral College. That's how much they care about us.
No, I'll tell you what, if
they
that
are cold and
if that ever happens, we will have no voice here.
That's right.
Zero.
They are cold and calculating people. I don't care. They are ideological. I think the fanaticism is what scares me. This is not my.
It's not common sense.
No, it's not common sense. It's not reason and debate. It's not the American way, and they don't care. They don't. They're going to force us to their will, and that's what's disturbing. That's why me and these other guys were talking about last night, that there is a certain grim, angry resolve in the Biden administration, and they don't mind threatening us, and we should listen to them. I will believe a person if he is threatening me.
Right.
I'll have to take him at his word, and I take Joe Biden at his word when he can get a sentence out.
Well,
I that's kind of ending our little time here together on a grim note, but at least we were very upbeat last night. And Grassley said we could, the Republicans could have control at all levels of state government.
In Iowa, yes.
Yeah.
And I so right now the Congresswoman Cindy Axne is up against Zach Nunn, who is a state senator right now, and he is a fabulous young man. He is a hard worker, military guy, and common sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is we need more voting power in the federal government.
And have you seen the commercial Cindy Axne's running against Zach Nunn? Apparently, Zach was complicit in the death of a child at Adventureland.
Yes.
And now he's
just terrible.
Now,
I mean, that's awful.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
awful accusation.
Awful, terrible thing to say. And now he wants to turn women into the handmaiden's tale here in Iowa because he opposes abortion straight away. that
You'll notice that a lot of those commercials that are coming out now are using abortion. It's their last. It's
the only
ditch
thing they
effort.
have to run. They're going to run on the economy.
No.
What
No.
are they going to run on?
No.
I mean, a brighter future, economic future for the people of Iowa. They can't run on that.
No.
They don't care about it. Actually, it's a tool, the last tool standing, so to speak.
So really, again, everyone does need to get out and vote. Don't just take for granted that Governor Reynolds is going to sail through the Capitol.
Vote.
We need everyone to get out.
We need to send a message, if nothing else.
Yep.
We will not be ruled by courts and by suffocating bureaucrats.
Believe early voting starts next week.
The auditor was just in here, and I think you're right.
On the 19th, Wednesday.
Yeah. 19th.
So, yep, you can walk in anytime after that. Anytime the courthouse is open.
Well, I'm going to vote for you, Ann.
Thank you.
I don't usually tell people how I'm going to vote, but I'm going to vote for you. I think I voted for you every time. By the way, this is kind of an odd thing. You might be in the house with Megan Serenabas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's probably going to win. And she's
down in Story County. Yeah.
Des Moines.
Des Moines?
Yeah, she has Southside galleries now. So there is I want to tell you about a funny ad that's out, a great ad that's out. So Governor Reynolds just released a commercial that had everyone, and we were there. Behind me, Representative Chris Hall and Representative Mary Wolf were there, and their guest that night for Governor's Condition of the State speech was Deidre DeGier.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that night so well because everyone stood up to support law enforcement.
Except her.
And I looked and I told Jim, I hope somebody gets a picture of this.
They did.
And they did. And that's what we're looking at. If we can't support our law enforcement, it's sad. It's a sad, sad day.
That's
but
right.
In that commercial, the back of that person's head right in front of her, that's my husband.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, you see, we feel that way because we're racist. That's the only card they have to play. Abortion, and you're all racist. I love them. I personally love them. There are days I can laugh at them. I really can. All right, Ann Meyer's been a guest. Thank you, Ann.
Thanks.
All right, this is AM 1400.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFT.
Jim Kirsten is next. It's 3:32.
Corn rootworm is a ruthless pest, which is why Bayer is relentless in its innovation. SmartStax Pro with RNAi technology is now here. With an RNAi-based mode of action unlike anything that's come before, plus 2 proven BT traits, it's innovation that equals the strongest biotech defense in medium to high corn rootworm pressure environments now available. Talk to your seed dealer about defending like a pro with SmartStax Pro technology. Always read and follow IRM grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions. Performance may vary.
I think farming picked me. I didn't pick farming. I'm not afraid to try something new. It's my farm, my family, and our future. My channel Seedsman gets that. I get access to innovative products with personalized advice backed by data to maximize my yield potential. With Channel, I know I'll prosper for years to come.
Define your future at channel.com/future. Read and follow pesticide label directions, IRM, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices. Copyright 2022 Bayer Group. All rights reserved.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
The Des Moines Register reports next week's hearing over state tax credits granted to an ethanol company will not be open to the public. For Alpha Media News, I'm Brooke Bickford. South Dakota-based Poet Biorefining operates a dozen plants in Iowa, and just last year, the Iowa Department of Revenue notified Poet it did not qualify for the state's research activities tax.
On Twitter at JMike1400.
All right, that's where we are. We're also on StreamYard. Boy, I have a big, I've got David Furyk, city manager Furyk, on StreamYard. I might have the camera a little bit too close to David. It makes it here. Let me turn your microphone on. Makes you look like the Great Giant Head. Remember remember that from Third Rock from the Sun? The Great Giant Head. Do you remember who the Great Giant Head was?
Oh, I do not.
I think it was William Kirk from Star Trek, or maybe he was some other. But that was a great show. I used to love that show.
It was a good show.
The Great, the Third Rock from the Sun. Anyway, David Furyk is here, and if you'd like to ask the city manager a question, it's 515-955-1400. That's 515-955-1400. I'll tell you, we lost something last night. I've been kind of celebrating because it was a great Republican Party chili feed last night. The Rash family put it on. It was a great time. A lot of upbeat speakers, a lot of great people there. I don't know if celebration is a word, but I just had a pretty good time. But we did have a loss last night at the city council meeting. Our man, Nevin Conrad, resigned to take a better job at Humboldt, I guess. He's now a magistrate judge up in Humboldt County, and he can't be an elected official and a judge both.
That's correct.
So,
as a magistrate judge, it's not a full-time job, so he still has his private practice, but yet he can't do that under the Iowa law. You can't be a judge and hold political office. So he had to resign from city council.
That's too bad. Nevin is a very common sense guy, very sharp young man, very logical. His legal training showed. And I enjoyed talking with him over the many years. I of course, still look forward to talking with him. He's still living here in Fort Dodge and will remain. But he was a man of good humor and great insight sometimes. And again, his legal training led him down a logical path and a path toward compromise. Yes. And that's something that I hate, compromise.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Everything you said, I would agree with. And he was a lot of fun to have on the city council too.
He was
always a
good
pleasure
guy
to have him as one of my bosses.
I think we've discussed this before, of course, but we need to cover it again. Now, how is the next council person chosen to fill his seat?
So the council is going to appoint somebody at the next council meeting to fill his seat. So under the Iowa law, there's really two ways to do it: a special election or a council appointment. So the council has the right to appoint somebody within 60 days of the vacancy. The vacancy started yesterday, so this is day one. So,
okay.
And then if they don't fill it within 60 days, then the county election person, for the not script, then has to put it up on the next for a special election, put it on the ballot for a special election. In this case, the council's going to make an appointment on the 24th, which is the next council meeting, and there'll be a public notice that'll go out. I think it'll be in Friday's paper that'll mention that, and then state that if someone wants to call for a special election, they can circle a petition and that would then trigger a special election, which the soonest that could be, I think, is February. It's either February, March. I think it might be like early March date. It's the next time there would be a special election, and this is for a seat that is basically open for a general election vote next year, anyways, next November. So the council looks at that and said, the best thing to do is just to appoint it for the short term.
I was going to ask you about the thinking of the council on this. They didn't think it was worth the expense of another election just to cover a year.
Yeah, for a short
14 months or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it won't even be that because like I said, by the time you could hold a special election, it'd be March. So you're basically talking March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. The election would be in November. And then the new council person. Well, it could be the same one if they then chose to run as an incumbent for it. But yeah, it's really like 8 months at that point.
Yeah. So
10 months. Yeah.
The council will appoint someone.
Yeah.
Is there a pool of people that they're considering, or how is this process going to work?
There's been some discussion. I think actually we should be making an announcement tomorrow on that.
So nobody knows yet?
Nobody knows.
It's a secret.
Yeah, we're gonna make an announcement on the appointment tomorrow.
Are you going to name the person
Yes.
tomorrow? Really?
Mhm.
So you already know. So this would be breaking news if you gave the story to me, wouldn't it?
I'm not.
Come on, man. What do you got to wait for the messenger?
No.
You got to wait. Oh, yes, you do. That's what, the first time I ever talked to Matt Bemrick, we got in a hell of an argument because he announced his candidacy Friday afternoon to protect the messenger. So the messenger could have it as a headline the next day in their newspaper before we had a chance to get it on the air.
Oh,
So you're doing it again?
no,
I take
I'm
it.
not.
Oh, yeah. Did you make the decision to keep this quiet? I mean, this little. Who decided that we shouldn't announce until tomorrow when the messenger can go over this time?
I would say collectively it has to get through its final approval before we make the announcement.
You haven't had the final announcement yet?
No, it's going.
Excuse me.
Get
You haven't made the final decision yet?
No, I would say we got to get it cleared. It's a process before you make an announcement. Make sure everyone's cleared and comfortable with it, and so we're still finishing that up this afternoon.
You mean all the rest of the council members and the mayor is not on board yet?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're not on board, but there's a process when you go through to make announcements.
A technicality, then.
Yeah,
where you have to go
We're
through
just
this little.
clearing things
Everybody is on board. You know who the next council person is going to be. You just don't want to say, and you're going
I'm
to say,
not
"Oh, there's a
gonna
little technicality." Well, we got to go through this
No,
thing.
Well, you got to understand the process, Mike. Everyone's, things got to get.
It's 4:18 in
reviewed
the
and
afternoon. Who's what? Minky and Allstott are going to work after 5? Come on, man. The Growth Alliance is probably already closed, so Lydia's not going to be there.
Yeah.
What does Councilman Nelson do for a living? I really don't know.
Nelson?
Yeah.
Cameron Nelson, he's a sales manager for Shimcat Ford or Shimcat Dodge.
Yeah, I do that every now and then. He's a sales manager out there?
For Shimcat, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Sorry, Cameron.
No, you should be saying sorry, Shimcat.
Yeah.
Shimcat Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been the Chrysler Plymouth. Well,
Yeah, Chrysler Plymouth.
Chrysler Plymouth Dodge, but they don't even do Plymouth
There aren't
anymore.
any more Plymouths, are there?
No, they stopped making Plymouth.
Yeah.
I think the only Dodge model they offer is the pickup, which
the
is
trucks.
a great. Yeah, it's a great pickup. I love.
Well,
that
no
truck.
Charger.
Yeah, that's right. They do have the Charger, don't they?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
And
What a-
Durango. Well, that's kind of a pickup.
No, it's an SUV. The Durango is.
And
That's
then-
right. Now that we talk about it, every now and then I go through the Shimcat lot because I go to Baumgart's a lot,
Mhm.
and I don't see. When this holds true with the 3 major car lots we have in town, I don't see a lot of new product out there. Ford doesn't have it. Ford Toyota doesn't have a lot of new product, and
Yeah.
Chem doesn't either. But we're lucky we have those 3 dealerships
Mhm.
because they're all run by good people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all
It's
run
good.
by.
We're lucky to have those good dealerships, and there's other smaller dealerships in town that
Yes, there are.
that do good. So it's fortunate that we have options there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. David Ferrick is our guest here, and he's holding back information. Holding back the years. Okay.
I just got to tell Brooke first, and then I'll let you know.
Brooke who?
Pick first. Just kidding.
I
I'll be a
did.
press release that'll go out.
What time of the day so I can be sure and tune in?
I can't tell you for sure. Why don't
Come on now. You can't tell me who it is. You can't tell me what time the press release is coming out. Am I allowed to know?
when it comes out?
Do I have to read it in the
Well, we
messenger?
No, I think we'll probably be good to go sometime in the morning. Yeah.
Sometime before noon.
Sometime in the morning, I think. Yeah.
All right. I mean, will there be a news conference, or are you just going to pull
No,
out
just a
a press release?
Yeah.
Make sure me and the
Yeah.
radio station messenger.
Absolutely.
I'm a little disappointed in you, David. To be honest.
Why?
Here you're sitting on a story. You could give it to the immediate news source in town
I know, it's
because
driving
the
you crazy.
messenger cannot print newspapers this fast. You could say it now, and the town would know. See, bada bing, bada bing.
I know it's driving you crazy. It's kind of
It is. It's driving me absolutely bananas. Don't taunt me, David. I'm old. So anyway, now that we know that David Ferrick is in the pocket of the messenger, tune in tomorrow. Who knows when for an announcement on who's going to be the next city council? Because apparently it's a secret. We can't know. There will be an empty seat at the, the city council when it convenes, and there will be remote voting by the anonymous city council person.
We could do it like a game show. What was it, a game show where there was like a person with some knowledge and they would give some obscure facts and people had to guess.
What's my line? Yeah.
Oh, is that what it
What's
was?
my line? That goes back. That go. Yeah, it does go.
Kid.
But there has been that weird show where somebody comes out dressed in just bizarre costume.
Oh, the Masked Singer.
Yeah, the Masked Singer.
Yeah.
The Masked City Councilman. Tune in tomorrow for the Masked City Councilman. That's what you should do. Have whoever this person is show up like in a Batman outfit or something, or Batgirl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We're going to have a woman named to the council, aren't we? For more gender balance. Or are we really going to go the whole route and have a transgender city council person in Fort Dodge?
Now you're really going down one of those rabbit holes.
No, I'm not. I think that I'm warming to the subject. How about somebody gay? Yes, we need a gay city councilman. Gay city councilman should be a woman for gender and diversity and sexual, whatever it is, equity. See,
I'm gonna let you go there by yourself.
You're gonna go. Okay, well, I'm getting lost in my own stuff here. So, what else did we discuss last night at City Council? I was too busy partying. I didn't have time to
Republicans,
go. Partying with the Republicans. They're fun lovers. The Democrats are fun eaters. Okay. Yeah, they are. Bemrick hates fun.
Well, I'm supposed to maintain non-political, so I probably won't follow you.
No, I know you're not going to.
So I think the other big news is our UTV ordinance passed.
UTV,
night, the UTV OHV. You know, the side by sides, the little.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that kind of look like newer dune buggy kind of things. You know, those,
yeah.
So that passed last night. In fact, council waived third reading, so it became you know, it's done. It's cleared the council. The mayor has signed it. And some people have asked, so when is it allowed? Well, technically it's allowed Friday because an ordinance to take effect has to be published, and it's published in the Messenger. So here I go supporting the Messenger again, Mike, but that required under state law.
Well, somebody's got to do it or we wouldn't have a newspaper.
We got to publish it. So it'll be published on Friday, which means that on Friday people can drive those vehicles on the road.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's official and the Messenger says so.
Well, but that's the law, you know.
Is that the way it's got to be?
I like to be able to say, yeah, it's signed. Are you ready to go? Go for it.
It's got to be put in
on divine intervention.
Nobody really reads local papers anymore.
I know,
and that's a sad thing.
It's a requirement that it is published in your local newspaper or whatever paper of general distribution that serves your area. Oh yeah,
that's antiquated, really.
I know. I actually spoke out. There was a proposal from municipalities to allow that publishing to be done online, since that was becoming the more current method. This is we're talking maybe 15 years ago, and again, I was not a fan of the Messenger when I proposed that, or when I was supporting that. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's another one of those antiquated laws, really. You know, some towns in Iowa, I think they have regulations as far as what your horse can do on city streets in Iowa, you know, because, you know, we used to farm with horses a long time ago. But the sad thing is that young people under 35 don't read the paper and they don't listen to radio. And I came up listening to radio and I came up reading the newspaper. But the next generation, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, they listen to podcasts. They get their
podcasts,
long form discussion from podcasts.
And they do.
You know, it's usually recorded, and they then listen to it when they want to.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that. The New York Times has a podcast. I actually listen to it. The daily, the Times Daily. And it's kind of liberal for me.
Just kind of a reiteration of the day's news.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal, all the big newspapers have it. And they do, like the Wall Street Journal has opinion. I believe the Times does as well. Mm-hmm. But they do an opinion podcast. Mm-hmm. And you're right. They do interview figures, political figures, and business people and things like that. Yeah, I think that's probably, my son listens to podcasts all the time.
Mm-hmm. I listen to quite a few. Not so much news related, more, I don't know, other interests.
God, they have them for everything.
Oh, yeah. You can listen to a podcast for everything now.
I have a friend that's a mechanical engineer. I think he listens to those baskets. He's retired now. He just he listens to podcasts that deal with that business. I don't, obviously, because I would have no idea what they're talking about. It's a little bit too much math for me. A little bit too much math for me. Okay, let's take a look here. Gosh, right on the front. Speaking of the messenger, there's Nevin on the front page, and he's fading away, and that's too bad. But we wish him absolute best in his new career, and he'll be a great judge.
Yeah,
he'll be a great magistrate judge, and he's still a very, very young man, and he's got a great local resume under his belt. So I hope this is a good move for him. And I know it is, but yeah. Anything else the council moved on last night, or was it just all about Nevin as it should have been?
Well, one thing, you haven't asked me about Fort Dodge Fiber and broadband. That's usually what we talk about the most of this show.
Well, because I want mine on, and I'm afraid I'll sound bitter,
So,
and I give you enough grief as it is. So where's my fiber, David?
So as we build this utility, keep doing more and more things. So last night on the council agenda, they approved the creation of the sales and marketing position.
All right.
For the broadband. So we will have someone who's responsible for the sales and leading the sales and marketing. So that job advertisement probably hasn't been posted. It might be a couple days from now before it's posted, but it'll be on our website. Our Fort Dodge, Iowa.
You don't have somebody for the sales and marketing position yet?
No, we've been using our communications person, Amanda Holmes, to fill in for the start of it. But it's getting to be type of work where we need to get someone in there full time to handle the sales and marketing, because when we're ready to go, we need to get people signed up.
Well, listen, I'm going to apply for the job, so there's no reason to carry that on any further. I mean, I'm the obvious candidate.
Yeah, we should have just been paying you for.
We should have. Good afternoon. You're on the air with the city manager.
Hey, the fiber thing that's going. Is there a number that you can actually talk to a person about that?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, is there a number you can actually talk to a person about that? Yes, I don't know what it is right now.
Go online, Fort. What is it?
Fiber.com.
Yeah, but there's no number to talk to a person.
What do you need?
Well, they're gonna run the cable through my front yard, but I can't get it because they say I'm not in the limits.
You're not in
city limits, but they're running the fiber through your front yard. That's odd.
Do you mind telling me where that's at?
Coleman.
Okay.
They're running the line right through my front yard to get out to the Redemption Center, but I can't get it.
All right. I don't have an answer for you. I'll see what's going on with that on why we wouldn't be able to serve Coleman. Because we're running right by it, we might be able to do that. So I don't know. I would have to. I got to check on.
Yeah, they've got my yard marked up on that where they're going to run the line through there. But I tried the online deal, and we're not serving you.
Okay, so yeah, so that's all you've done so far, but you haven't talked to anybody yet. That's why you're asking for a number.
I went online and tried to apply, and it says you're out of our service area or something like that. And
okay.
There's nobody to talk to say, hey, maybe you can't come through my front yard then if you can't serve me.
As we speak, I'm having trouble with the online service here in the radio station. Thank you again, Mediacom. Let me call Mediacom and have them put me on hold and say, be at your house between 8 and noon, and maybe we'll come, and never doing business with them again. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot.
You bet.
All right. Okay, all right. Look at this guy now. See, I get all the celebrities in here today.
Yeah,
Senator Kim Kreinbrink comes in.
Now you got real.
Now we got some real juice.
Real stuff.
And I may be the shortest one in the room here for a change.
Yeah.
I don't know. I may be a little bit taller than Kreinbrink.
In the 15 square miles that's Fort Dodge, I may be somebody, but outside of that, I'm a nobody. Where this guy's a somebody throughout the whole state.
He's well known throughout the state.
He's the whole state.
And listen, I don't know if you knew this or not, but he's a stallion.
I told you not to say that.
He's a huge stud. Women love the guy.
I don't know how you know that. I don't know if I want to know.
I don't even want to
No,
know.
mine goes straight. Believe me.
There's always been a little bit that way to me.
No.
but I just-
Don't try to deflect it, Tim. I mean, women flock to you. That's why Sally's with you all the time. You're just huge. I mean, you are nationwide.
Watch him can me right after that.
Oh yeah, you're in trouble. He's got you set up for a tough day.
All right. Anything else, David?
No. That's
When
great.
do we have a completion date on Fort Dutch Fiber? Just
Oh well, it's throughout next year too. But we're still
Oh, we're still-
we're still looking at now. Now our goal was 300 houses by the end of this year, and I've heard something that we might be ahead of that. We may be able to get ahead of that. The installation crew, they're just going fast, so
Yeah.
we're hoping we can hook up as many as possible yet this
So
year.
already up to the houses in a lot of those areas.
No, we haven't made the houses, but we're getting through the city a lot faster than we had anticipated.
you going out to National Avenue because that's where he lives, out by the apple orchard.
We are not going out.
Not going out there, so he's stuck with whatever he can get.
How about in town the businesses though?
Yeah, and down to businesses can get it.
Okay.
Yeah, any businesses.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Well, so your office gets it then.
Mhm.
You're still working, aren't you? Or did
Oh,
you-
yeah.
Did you retire?
No.
Because you're huge and
Today I was putting up signs in Sac County. So
Were you really? Wow, this guy's got it made. Got all the money in the world. Babe magnet. It's just nationwide.
are we live?
Yeah, we're still
Yes,
on.
we're really on the air. All right.
So folks need to tune in for the next half hour. It's gonna be
This will be a
good.
good one. No, I'm all pumped up. Wasn't it a great Republican thing last night?
It was wonderful,
I'm just,
yeah.
I had just a great time, and it's carried over into today.
You even stayed the majority of the time, which is unusual for you.
Yeah, well, I guess you're not my age yet, Crying Brick. I stayed for most of it.
Well, there are restrooms there in case you have to go to the restroom.
And I
come
went
back.
several times. It's an older man thing, and you ought to know that too.
Divine Intervention is online at yourportdodge.com, on Twitter at jmike1400.
Yeah, Tim Cranbrick's coming up.
As a farmer, growing your business is more than just a 9 to 5. It's your life's work. That's why the
make it up there live to support the Dodgers, and I suggest you tuning in on 92 Rock and on yourfortdodge.com.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFT.
Well, all that went way too long. I think we went too long with David Furyk and me giving grief to Senator Kreinbrink. I'm just, you think I'm giving you grief? I'm just jealous. I stand in awe and envy of you.
You know what? If I didn't know you well enough, I'd actually probably believe what you're saying. First of all, I couldn't believe we were live. So,
well,
although that happens to the best of us.
Oh,
right?
it happens to the best. As long as I think I'm okay, as long as I don't, really get into any profanity.
you think you're okay?
I'm okay. Well, I of course I don't have Kreinbrink money, but if I'm at the point in life where the wolf's not at the door either. So that's all good. But I appreciate you coming into the studio on such short notice. It was just a great event last night, and everybody was so upbeat and such an impressive
lineup.
An impressive lineup. Senator Grassley was there. Governor Reynolds was there, and Governor Reynolds, I'll tell you, she's coming into her own. She gave the Republican response not long ago to President Biden's speech. She did a great job. She's getting really comfortable with that mic in her hand, and so are you, by the way. I remember when you first started, you get up there and you would
hesitate a little bit.
I
think that happens with everybody.
I think it does,
and you kind of see like Sheriff Fleener and. Does such a great job. And you go right down the line, even Austin and Reggie did a nice job, I thought, last night for someone who's just getting into the public realm, and I always find that if you speak from your heart, and you don't try to memorize stuff, you just speak from your heart, it seems like most of the time that turns out okay. And I think it's just true you know, and people enjoy that as well. So. But no, it was a great event. And I was kind of surprised at the turnout because, we've had the governor was at Ann Meyer's event. And then a month later, she was at my event. And then now a month later, she came back and I thought, okay, maybe Fort Dodge is going to get a little bit tired of her. But there were probably 10% of the people there last night that were probably at my event. I don't know. You were at all three of the events. And so when I looked around, I thought, well, gosh, there was a lot of people here that weren't at Ann's event, and a lot of people weren't at my event. And so that means there's a new group, that kind of always comes to this, I always call it the Kenny Rash Chili Bash. That's what it started out as years and years ago. And I think Jim was calling it the chili feed or
cook-off or whatever.
Well, I think it was a chili feed or whatever, chili evening but anyway, it is what it is. And the Rash family are just troopers for continuing that.
They are
for continuing that, on years and years after, not years and years, but they've kind of helped out with Dad and Mom when Dad and Mom weren't doing too well. And now they've pretty much taken it over. And I think they find pride in a great way of giving back to the community after they've been and their parents have been treated so well by the Republican Party. So.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't forget to go over and thank them. The Rash family.
Yeah.
I did.
There were a lot of them.
Yeah.
When they got
when
they got up on stage after they got everybody, it's like, holy cow, there's a lot of. And another thing there was a lot of Republican candidates and Republican elected officials up there, which years ago I can remember having the event in the senior citizen place on Central Avenue, and it was pretty full, but I think there were one or two elected officials, that were Republican from this area at that time. We didn't have a big slew of people, but now you look at it and it's like the whole stage is full of them, and I think that's just a testament to the party and how hard we're working to keep Iowa the greatest place that it is today. So
the Democrats are running on abortion. They're not running against you and Ann at all,
or Mike,
or Mike. And maybe I should not even start talking about abortion. Maybe I should talk about that fact, because I have talked about it this afternoon and in previously on this program, that Webster County used to be one of the most Democratic counties in the whole state. And now there are more registered Republicans than Democrats in Webster County. As a matter of fact, the number 2 spot is taken up by
Independents.
Independents.
Yeah.
The Democrats are actually in 3rd place.
Well, and nationwide now, I was just listening to the radio on the way in. Actually, the top registered party is Independents in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Republicans or Democrats aren't leading anymore. It's the Independents. And I think a lot of people have kind of gotten fed up with both parties at times.
Sure they have.
And have just said, well, I'm going to be an independent then. And some people do it because then we don't, knock on their door, or we don't ask them to do stuff for the Republican Party. I think they just like a lower keyed independent title, and then they can say, well, I make up my own mind, or I vote issues, or I vote on different things than just party, just the party line.
You grew up in a little town in Iowa.
Yeah.
You did all the farm work and all that stuff.
Northwest Iowa in Paulina.
Yeah, Paulina.
Yeah.
Why are you a Republican?
I guess my biggest thing was that I know my parents started out as Democrats, and my dad and mom will say that, they were Democrats years ago, and of course they're 87 now, but the party has changed, and I guess I just identified with the Republican Party because of more of the moral issues. And I mean, fiscally conservative, you can be a Republican or Democrat, but I don't know if you can truly be a Democrat today if you are a Republican today if you aren't more right on the moral issues, like you said, abortion and school choice and some of those things I think are important, to me, to my moral makeup, I guess, how my parents raised me.
I think there's a lot of that. Joe Coleman and I have talked about, I grew up, of course, in Kossuth County up in Algona, Iowa, and the longtime chairman of the Kossuth County Democrats was a Catholic. Joe Bradley was his name. People who listen up there remember Bradley Implement. He was a well-known area businessman, but he dropped out. Joe Bradley was the Iowa campaign director for Robert Kennedy's presidential campaign. And he dropped out of the Democratic Party and became a Republican because of abortion. Now, he is a man of our parents' generation.
Right.
But the Democrats now are seemingly trying to make this election about abortion and somehow blame the Dobbs decision on the Republicans.
Right.
Well, of course, the Dobbs decision did not make abortion illegal. I mean,
well, number one is I'm not sure that it was the law of the land. Aren't laws supposed to be made by legislators?
You would think so, wouldn't you? Yes, not courts.
Right.
Not
And
courts.
so when they say, well, it's a law of the land, well, it's a precedent that was maybe set by, but it's not the law of the land. The laws, and I think that's the problem. A lot of people, when they're teaching all this woke stuff to our kids in school, I think they forget to teach true government and how it actually works. And that'd be
They
great.
don't care.
That'd be great if our kids understood. Because when I speak to some of the students at the Capitol, a lot of them, even if they watch Sesame Street and how a bill becomes a law, I mean, it's still. I think a lot of them just don't understand, and frankly, I didn't understand the entire process before I started to run and read more and looked into it more and got more comfortable with how it all works. To me, the government moves slowly on a lot of issues because the government, you don't want to make bad decisions. A lot of decisions that are made in a snap of the moment are decisions that you kind of look back and maybe can regret, or you have to go back and correct. And I think it's important, that government does move slowly because, there's some important things that happen, and we don't need a lot of things to happen in just very quickly.
Yeah. Well, parents have to matter in education. Parents have to matter. And I talk sometimes with members of the teachers union. I know you were a teacher, and Sally was. But the teachers union has changed, and it's always benign when they talk to you. Well, what's wrong with teaching history? Nothing's wrong with teaching history. How are you teaching it?
Right.
Are you teaching it to shame white children? Because that's what the thing is. Are you teaching that identity is fluid?
I hope that's not true, Mike. And I hope in the state of Iowa that's not true.
It's coming down from the Biden education department. The Biden administration they have a transgender person as a cabinet member.
But we have great teachers in our schools
I know.
that I would think would be against teaching that and just teach true history and teach true math and English. And
Tim, I have some photocopies of books that are in the Fort Dodge School Library at home.
I think I gave them to you.
Did you give them to me? Well, I don't think you did. I mean, I've gotten them from a few different sources. Maybe you did give me some. I don't remember. I don't want to take that away from you. But the point is, if you're aware of it, you know what's going on.
Right.
And you know that teachers should be speaking out, I think. Do you or not?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that, we have to get back to the point in our education system where some of those things shouldn't be taught in school. I mean, if parents want to teach some of these things to their kids at home, that's one thing. And a lot of people say too, with cell phones and what they have access to on their phones, with our schools and administrators, we can't ask them to police that all the time, because a lot of that stuff's made available to them by their parents. And when you say parents matter, well, yes, they do. Parents do matter, but there are some parents that are missing.
Yes.
And so, we as a society still are responsible for those children. We're responsible as a state, to educate those children properly. But there are parents that are very, very active, and there's parents that are mediocre active, and there are parents that are absent. And all those kids every one of those kids deserve the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I think somehow we have to take that moral turn back because I don't think there's anybody that's born, and I had this discussion with somebody last week, that doesn't have a moral compass. They know the difference between right and wrong. I mean, everybody has to know that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
I think you are, as a matter of fact. I think that a certain segment of society, and yes, that segment of society is embedded in the Democratic Party, who are seriously moral relativists. Really, on the issue of personal behavior, anything goes, and it should be taught to our children as anything goes.
Yeah, I hope that's not true.
I
hope and pray that that's not true, and if it is, it's a minor minority. Because if that's true all over, then we're in trouble.
Well, it is true now as we speak in some of the larger cities,
right.
And it's shocking, the presumption of some teachers, and not in Iowa, but in other states,
right.
have taken, and the liberties they've taken.
Thank goodness we're here in Fort Dodge then.
I guess so. What did you take away from the Republican Party meeting last night?
Well, I don't see complacency. I don't see
that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and I don't see overconfidence. I think the current administration has us all scared enough that we know that this is, and I've said this last night, every time we look at another election, we say, oh, this is the most important election we're ever going to be in, and like I said last night, I think for real, this is probably one of the most important elections that we'll ever
Without
take
a
part
doubt.
in.
Without a doubt.
And so, but we can't stop after that. We have to hold the people accountable that we elect. So if they say they're going to do something, or they say they're going to do whatever, we have to hold them accountable for that.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, we need to vote them out again. And I think we see that happening, through the Republican Party right now. There's a lot of Republicans, both on the state level and the federal level, that were primaried. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them didn't make it through the primary. Right, and so the people that are elected into there now with the new blood, we have to hold accountable and say, okay, this is what you were sent there to do. Let's do it. And I think that's what the people want to see. They're sick of, I think people in America are sick of politics as it has been.
Yeah.
And I think they're ready for transparency and honesty, and someone to take credit or take the blame for what they have done. And I don't, that's just something that's missing. Everybody wants to take credit, but nobody wants to take the blame for anything.
I've never been afraid in an election before, but I am in this one. Michael Moore, who has a part-time job as a Pillsbury doughboy, Michael Moore, who is considers himself the attack dog of the Democratic Party, said that there's going to be a blue tsunami this fall. We're going to fool everybody and take control. And he keeps saying, we're going to take control. We're going to take power without mercy. Without mercy. What do you think that means? Because I know what it means.
Well, if somebody,
they're going to punch us in the face, grind us under the heel.
But I'm glad to hear, though, that you're scared and anxious about it, because that's only going to determine you and others more. If there are more people that have that same feeling, then they are going to get out and they are going to go get a neighbor that usually doesn't vote, and they're going to bring them along.
That's
and
right.
They're going to have them vote. And so there's only one way to cure a blue tsunami, and that is to get out and vote. And I think that's what that's what we've been saying for a long time. We got to